Now the whole time I'd be doing this dryer would be going to really super dry that bottom. So I'm going to turn this back on so it continues to dry. But now all we have to do is score and slip and put these two pieces together. You can see that ridge I was telling you, it's not as thick as it appears. So we want to get rid of that extra clay. It's really not necessary, but it makes me feel better that I'm not putting a super thick piece on top. And however you want to score that, then you just you'll score both edges. And when I'm scoring a leather hard piece, I always like to put a little slip on the surface that keeps crumbs from falling down, but this is freshly thrown, so it's nice and wet. It's not gonna crumble like it would if it were leather hard. We also talked in the class about why do pieces that are thrown separately and put together, why do they have a line that shows up once they're fired? And we were talking about how they were putting two pieces that were thrown rim to rim, and the clay particles are moving in opposite directions. So there's a lot of extra tension there that you won't have in this step. All right, so I've got my slip bucket and my water bucket. I could use the water, but I'm going to use the slip bucket, and that puts slip on perfectly, and then I just transfer it here. Just make sure it goes all the way around. If it doesn't, pick up a little bit more. Okay, so now I know that's perfect. Now I'm going to mend these and get rid of that line, which I'll do with this tool and my brush. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to dry the bottom, so I'm setting myself up for trimming. So you want to check to make sure the neck is good. I add just a little bit of slip to the surface. And now I'm going to compress that seam. And I pull clay down. And then I'm going to push clay up into it. So you can still see where those two pieces came together. That'll go away during the trimming process. And I'll also fine-tune this during the trimming process. And also you can fine-tune the transition during the trimming process. Okay, so this has already been dried. If I were throwing this in one piece, I want to make sure the neck is nice and dry so that the air currents don't tip it one way or the other. Now if you look at the bottom, we know that's extra clay. So I'm going to take a trimming tool and I'm going to just trim away that extra clay. The reason I use the hairdryer is it blows the crumbs away from the piece. Alright, so you can see you're getting the actual form now. Alright, so this is just a preliminary trim. The actual trim will be done later once this is leather hard. But watch this, we're going to use this tool to really remove the rest of that apron that's still there. That's the extra clay that kind of supports the piece while you're throwing it. Normally this would be removed during the trimming process, but I like to take as much off now as possible to give me an idea of the overall form. Alright, so you can see that there's still more clay to be trimmed away. That'll be done later. And because we've been drying it the whole time, now we can easily cut it off and move it without any kind of distortion to the piece because it's dry enough to hold its shape. Alright, so there you have it. That's Monday evening's demonstration. This next Monday, I'll be there at 5. Class starts at 6. So between 5 and 6 you can come in and try this again. And then we'll have another demonstration for you. Thanks for tuning in.